The tradition continues where I count down my favorite movies of the prior year at the beginning of the new year. And the fact is, just like always, it isn't a comprehensive countdown of the best movies. However, it is just a countdown of my favorite movies I watched. And as like every year, there are going to be things that came out in the prior year I did not watch, such as Wicked. I didn't go watch that. I didn't watch Kraven the Hunter. But again, after the ad read and after the open rolls, I will count down my favorite movies I watched in 2024. The countdown begins with the first, or only, 2 out of 5 stars film that I watched, that being The Greatest Hits. It was completely passable, but it wasn't nearly as adventurous as I thought it could be. It wasn't as over the top as I had hoped as far as choices that were made. However, the reason that it is in the top 10, and some things that I watched didn't make it, calling you out, Jackpot. John Cena may have done a good job at making that movie watchable, but he was the best thing and he wasn't the main character. But the reason The Greatest Hits makes the cut is because of it being the film that introduced me to David Corenswet, the man who will be Superman this summer via James Gunn. And again, I thought the concept of The Greatest Hits, music taking you back in time or moving your consciousness from the now to the then, and you using that as a way to try and save the love of your life, top quality concept. It was just the execution was a bit lacking. Number 9, the film that if Josiah was here would probably be number 1 with a bullet, is Deadpool and Wolverine, which I thought was a fine 3 out of 5 stars film. Because, again, much like Greatest Hits, I was fine with the premise, and I thought that it had much more to offer. But just a lot of things fell flat for me when it came to this movie, and that's always been a struggle with me, which is comedy. I don't know. I just don't always think things are funny that filmmakers think are hits. And when it came to this, there were just so many times when things were presented as a joke where I was like, okay, I guess, but I'm not with it. I don't think it's funny. And also some of the serious things were basically treated lighter than I think that they ought to have been, because you know, everybody lives, or both namesake characters make it to the end. And I don't know. I just think that possibly if a hero had sacrificed himself to save the world, might have been stronger. Number 8, that being the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, was the opposite of not taking itself seriously. Like, things were very stern, serious, important, relevant. And as a matter of fact, my slight of it was that I expected it to be funnier because the trailers seem to have had more humor than I got in the movie. I thought the movie was very, again, serious. I mean, it is war, so that's fine, but the trailer made me assume it was going to be funnier than it turned out to be. And with that, it got a good rating. Now I'm struggling to remember if I gave it a 4 out of 5 or I think I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars when I reviewed it originally, because there were enough strengths to make it good. I just think that had it had more humor, I probably would have gone 5 out of 5 or stronger, because the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare was a good time. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is the number 7 best movie of 2024 that Oz viewed. And the real reason that it is number 7 is that it really showed that love and appreciation for what was with the original team. It seems like they may not be back if what Dan Aykroyd is feeling is true, but if this is the last time we see the original Ghostbusters in action, it was a worthwhile and top quality finish for them, especially since Janine was able to suit up and help save the day with the original team, and that was definitely good stuff. Because while it's not the best Ghostbusters, I still think Afterlife takes the cake when it comes to pulling at the heartstrings. Frozen Empire is as good as Ghostbusters 2, but does fall short of Ghostbusters, the original film, because, that thing was great. It was well establishing of the franchise. And so, yeah, Ghostbuster Frozen Empire, number 7. The number 6 movie of 2024, The Man on the Rise, the man who is doing top quality work, that being Hitman, Glen Powell. And the thing that really made Hitman, starring Glen Powell, so interesting, and what made it so good, was he was a pretend hitman. And don't get me wrong, if he was a real hitman, I'm sure he could have done good things with it, but it was the fact that he was able to basically be a chameleon and fool or persuade all those who were trying to hire a hitman that he was the right hitman for the job. And yeah, no, it had a very creative and good twist ending where they tell you in the credits that, to their knowledge, that the man who this story is based off of didn't do what was done in the film. But yeah, it was very fun, entertaining, engaging, and spoiler, it won't be the last time I talk about Glen Powell here on the countdown, because again, the man is just on the rise. He's a top guy in the making. I mean, literally, there's rumors of him being cast as Batman regularly. So, that means you're doing something right. Thank you for being here at Mr. Super Oz. This video is going out, and this channel only exists because I, Oz, founded Gamble Comics, which first release was Everlasting Survivors, a 68-page graphic novel called All Day Long. Available now. Follow the link in the description that will take you to gamblecomics.com. While there, you can get hats, shirts, posters, much, much more, but most importantly, the story itself. Coming soon from Gamble Comics, BC Brute. Well, we're in the top 5 movies according to Oz of 2024, and with that, number 5 is the first 5-star great movie of 2024 in the countdown, that being Beetlejuice, a movie I actually believe surpassed its original the movie that started it all, that being Beetlejuice. And it's no knock on the original movie. Had it not existed, it wouldn't have made it so that the second movie could dive right in and make it so that nothing needs to be explained to anyone, which is what I really thought the strength of Beetlejuice was. That being that the creators knew that the audience knows what's up, and they don't have to be told anything about the world to understand what's happening, which gave the audience the ability to just sit back, enjoy, and experience this wacky, wild time of a film. And so, yeah, Beetlejuice is both the first 5-star film on the countdown, but also the number 5 film on the countdown. Number 4, and hey, look at that, he's back, John Cena. John got cast as Ricky Stenicki by Zac Efron and friends to portray a made-up friend of theirs to all of their wives and girlfriends and anybody who they've lied all throughout their lives and blamed all their problems and all their shenanigans on their friend Ricky. And so, I know I said earlier that comedy has been a thing that I struggle with, to be like, oh man, I know you, the writer, think this is funny, but I don't. The thing is that there are times, and Ricky Stenicki presented one of those times, there are times when there is no doubt about it, the thing that they are presenting as funny, I just get it. And this whole presentation of Ricky Stenicki, of John Cena wanting to stay as Ricky and not himself, was done so well that I thought it was a hit. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the desire to do your best. And it's weird that he's doing his best to be a fake friend. Well, to be a real friend of a fake friend that all his new friends made up. But still, Ricky Stenicki, number 4 in the top 20 or the top movies of 2024. Had it not been for the fact that Mrs. Super Oz wanted to see Beetlejuice, the number 5 movie of 2024 in theaters, I may not have known that my number 3 most enjoyed movie of 2024, well, that was released in 2024, even existed. Because it was upon looking up the movie times for Beetlejuice that we saw God's Not Dead in God We Trust existed. And it starred Dean Cain returning from the first film, and that I had never seen up until the point of seeing this movie came out. And then it started a whole rabbit hole trip of watching 1 through 4 before watching the 5th movie in the franchise. And it was so well executed that I couldn't help myself but to make it the number 3 best movie of 2024 because of, well, all of the work that was done within it, whether it be by the geek girl Anna from the OC or Scott Baio, like I said, Superman himself, Dean Cain. Everybody just did top quality work, and especially Peter Kane, the villain from God's Not Dead 2, returning in this film to keep up his war against religion in public. It was just so well done. And this leads perfectly into the second best movie, in my opinion, of 2024. Another film that follows along the tradition that was laid before it. So not just Beetlejuice, not just Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, not just Deadpool and Wolverine, but also God's Not Dead, but the number 2 film in Oz's opinion for 2024, that being Twisters, is a follow-up to the 1996, I think, Twister film, and it's also the return of Glen Powell to the countdown. And in this, it's funny, so in the trailer, you don't necessarily see precisely who's on what side of what's going on in the here and the now, but as soon as Glen Powell's character arrived in frame of the movie, I was like, oh, this is our hero. This is the guy who we're meant to follow, we're meant to be on the side of, because there were previously established characters who could have been seen in multiple different ways, but as soon as his character showed up, I was like, this is the top baby face. And he helped change the perspective of the lead female from thinking she was on the right side of things while working with hey, look at that, David Corenswet's back. And again, I'm looking forward to his portrayal of Superman, hoping that the DC film universe can get a strong foundation and stay consistent, because as you can see, I'm a big fan of DC and I have nothing but appreciation and hope for their movies to be top quality. And with that, let's talk about Mr. Super Oz's number one movie of 2024, that being The Fall Guy. I know the critics panned it. I know they said, oh, this thing isn't worth seeing. But to me, it was just pure fun. The soundtrack was so engaging that it made all of the fight scenes so much more enjoyable, and the downtrodden nature of Ryan Gosling's character when he thinks that he has, caused things to go awry on set, only to realize that it was actually the leading man of that he was doing the stunts for that caused all of it. Like all of the, I don't know if they were practical or impractical, but all the stunts that were happening throughout the film, they were so much fun. And it's the kind of thing, this film, that doesn't require a sequel. It's just fun, action, comedy, intrigue. Like, it's just a good movie. Or it's not even good. I thought it was a spectacular freaking movie. 6 out of 5 stars. But it's the kind of thing that I felt like we would get so often in the 90s. Just fun for the sake of fun. And if we can get more fun, not, we don't have to, everything connects and all of the, oh, go watch the stream to then go watch the movie to go back to a stream. It's like, why can't we just have good, enjoyable, fun movies? Like, that's all The Fall Guy was. And it and Twisters are the only movies on the countdown that I've watched more than once in the year. And that is something in and of itself to say, hey, if you've got my attention so much that I want to come back to you, keep that up. And speaking of keeping it up, keep up with the channel Mr. Super Oz. Come back all next week for more content. Enjoy.